Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
And I know this is your time. You like to keep us updated.
Yeah, we'll keep everybody posted on Pittsburgh and Cleveland, Miami, and the Jets. We're underway as New England decided to defer after winning the toss. And here's Hines on the run back, breaking a tackle and taking it past midfield. And down the sideline he goes. This is storybook. An opening kickoff return for Damar Hamlin. And this place is absolutely going wild.
Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? The next time the Buffalo Bills touch a football after Damar went down, had to be resuscitated on the field, and is watching in his hotel, in his hospital room with his family around him, tweeting out all day long, Nyheim Hines, who said, "I did it for you three," goes 95 yards for a touchdown, and then did it again later on in the game. And how long has it been since the Bills returned a kickoff for touchdown? 3 years and 3 months. Welcome to the JP Peterson Show. Look, you guys know we're hyper local here. It's all about the Bucs today, but we had to start the show with that. We just had to start the show with that because you cannot make this stuff up. The NFL scriptwriters are working overtime this year, no doubt about it. There have been so many great storylines, and this one to end the season as Damar sits there, and a week ago we're just a little probably less than that. Hoping that he just pulls through. And now here are the Bills running back a kickoff for a touchdown, and he's wide awake and tweeting about it. That is pretty damn cool. So welcome into the JP Peterson Show as we go through what was a very eventful weekend. We got a great show for you again today because there's a big game coming up tonight, the national championship between the underdog Horned Frogs of TCU going up against Georgia. 12.5-point underdogs, but I don't know about that. Sandra Golden's going to join us from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta to talk some Georgia Dogs football. And Brady Tinker from DSP Media in Dallas will join us to talk about how about them Cowboys as the Cowboys are coming to town on Monday Night Football, prime time. Man, didn't see this one coming. That's for damn sure. Did not see this one coming. So we're going to talk a lot about the Bucs. We got, of course, we'll listen to Brady. We got Todd Bowles, some of the players. We'll get all that to you today as we and some great sound from all over the NFL. Aaron Rodgers. There was some great stuff on Get Up this morning. So we got to run it all for you, and we're going to bring it to you here in the next hour. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group, among others, and we appreciate their support. I'll say good morning to you, Nick Geddes from Outsider.com. How are you? After your weekend away, picking up Riley, the yellow lab pup, who's cute as can freaking be.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, it's been a lot going on this weekend in sports, and I feel like I've been as disconnected as you could possibly be from everything that's been going on. Don't be wrong, I caught up on everything last night.
Of course you did.
But during everything happening and taking care of a new puppy, it has not been easy. It has not been easy. And I came in here and I told you, first thing, I got an F- so far. I get an F- for how I've started this.
Yeah, it has not been a good start for you.
No.
You're like mid-season Buccaneers this year, man. You're taking L's all over the place.
How fitting, by the way. I can't believe I put my dog. Well, Casey has a lot of jokes for this, right? So we had bought a little Bucs jersey for him to wear, and she was like, "We're gonna have any more Bucs games?" You know,
let me just stop you there. First of all, dogs do not wear clothes.
Well,
all right. Sorry, Casey, but dogs do not wear clothes. Stop with that. Dogs don't like to wear clothes. You know, maybe a little bit of wrap them up in a little. I don't even know why people put like sweaters on dogs. They already have a coat. They have a coat. They live in the wild. They don't need a freaking coat.
Look at him. He's wearing a little Bucs jersey.
Look, I'm not going to say that's not the cutest thing ever, but I'm just anti putting clothes on dogs. That's all. They have a coat.
I thought it was funny, though. She got the true Bucs experience that a lot of us had to do when we were young.
Yeah.
The Bucs having a bad day, and this was his first game experience wearing the jersey. And does he look happy there? No. He's
got a shirt on. He doesn't want a shirt.
No, he don't look a little happy.
It looks tight. And he's like, no, take this freaking thing off me.
No.
Did he like it when it was going on?
I wasn't there when it went on.
No,
I was
me.
not there. I showed
Trust
up
me.
and he was wearing it.
There was a lot of
but
whining
the entire
and
time he
barking,
was wearing it,
biting.
though, he wasn't like trying to like other dogs do, trying to get it off. He wasn't even like paying attention to it.
Okay.
He's too busy biting my shoes. He's biting me. He's pooping on carpet. He's
biting,
peeing on wood.
It's nibbling. It's puppy nibbling.
No, these was full-on bites.
No.
These are
they're not
bites.
That's not a full-on bite. Trust me. That's just puppy nibbling. You got to get used to that. Toughen up. All right. So let's get into the Bucs here. As they will face the wretched Cowboys, who finished. I guess they finished what 12-5. Is that right? 12-5. Yeah, 12-5. And of course, the Bucs finish 8-9. You know what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares whether it's 9-8 or 8-9. You're still the very average team that made the playoffs. But suddenly, here we go. Here come the Cowboys limping in here. Now, are the Cowboys going to play? I watched a lot of that game yesterday. They are awful. They were awful. But that's what a team looks like when they know they don't have to win. And there's nothing they could do. They knew that the Eagles were going to take care of business. They knew that. They knew there was no way the Eagles were going to let the division go. And as soon as the Eagles got up in the game, everybody, I think it was 16-0 in that game over the Giants. They knew that at some point, and that's what happens in the NFL, because the difference in winning and losing is that much. And if you're just a little bit, if you don't have that edge to play, you're not going to win. Look at the Bucs yesterday. I thought they actually put up a pretty good fight in the first half, to be quite honest. But they were never going to play to win, thank God. Thank God they came to their senses. It's somewhat. I mean, you guys know, if you watch this show, I railed all week long about how the hell are you playing Tristan Wirfs on that sticky carpet. Well, they came to their senses, and they didn't play Tristan Wirfs, thank God. Mike, I mean, that would have been complete coaching malfeasance. The fact that you had Brady out there with 2 backup tackles is complete idiocy. And only by the grace of God, when there was the inevitable whiff block up front, and Grady Jarrett had 2 full shots at Tom Brady and Keyshawn Vaughn, only by the grace of God was Brady not hurt. We could be sitting here today going, what'd you think of playing Gabbert? Because he's starting the playoff game. I mean, just complete, I'm sorry. That's just coaching malfeasance. You did not put Tom Brady out there. I don't care how much he wants to play. And what did he get out of it? A touchdown pass to Kyle Rudolph? Whoop-de-doo. Okay, so they carry over a little momentum. Yeah, that touchdown pass for a guy who has 500 career touchdown passes, that was the key to him playing well next week. I mean, seriously? Really?
Well, let's be honest here. How many times this year have the Bucs gone down on the first drive and gotten a touchdown?
3 times.
3 times,
That's
right?
the 3rd time this year.
Very rarely have we seen 7-0 Buccaneers, and that's what I said this week, I believe.
Yeah,
I wanted
you know what?
I wanted to see it. I wanted to see him do it.
Forget 8-9. You know what? Forget that they score 18 points again. You know what? You're right. I see the light now. They went down and scored a touchdown against the Falcons, the 21st ranked defense in football. Wow. I'm charging into the playoffs with all kinds of momentum. Golly gee, here we go. We got a touchdown against the Falcons. Wow, man, I feel really good now. Oh, yeah, forget all the rest of this stuff this year, because we scored an opening route touchdown against the Falcons. Wow, golly gee, Tommy, that was really good. Jeepers. Who cares? Who flipping cares? It's meaningless. There's no momentum from this game going into next week. You're just lucky Brady didn't get hurt. That's all. All right. I thought that was pretty good. I'll just leave that.
Disrespected.
You feel disrespected?
I feel a little disrespected.
I didn't mean it in that way. It's just I don't really know if that really helps you. If it does,
I don't really know. I appreciated what I saw in the first drive, and them getting into the red zone and getting down near the goal line and getting the touchdown. That's all I wanted to see. And honestly, if they would have pulled everybody right there, I think we all would have been like, that's awesome.
Fine. That's fine.
That's awesome.
That's
great.
Great.
I advocated for 2 to 3 series, at most a half, although I didn't envision this, and I put this out there. I didn't realize maybe when I was saying at most a half that it was going to turn into Brandon Walton, Luke Gedeke, and John Mulchin.
When Hainsey goes down, how do you put Brady back out there?
when I see Nick
what
Leverett,
are we doing?
When I see Nick Leverett doing, back now, here's the thing though. Nick
Leverett's limping around.
Here's the thing though. You don't really have put Ryan Jensen aside right now. you don't really have a center outside of Robert Hainsey. Hell, Robert Hainsey isn't a natural center either, right? He had to kind of learn to play that position.
Right.
So I kind of get it. If, okay, Hainsey's got a hamstring injury, those things can be really touch and go.
Yeah,
we don't know how severe it's going to be. We'll probably find out something later today, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Get a few snaps in there with Nick Leverett as the center to see how that exchange goes in a real game. I get it from that standpoint in a sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I, like everybody else, I think when we saw Brady playing behind John Molchin, Brandon Walton, and Luke Gedeke,
get him the hell out of there.
We were a bit like, okay, at least I was like, this is a little silly.
And they're joking about it on the game. Oh, Brady didn't. He sure looks mad. He's like, shut up. You're not playing. Sit down. I'm the coach. You're the player. I don't care who you are. You're Tom freaking Brady. Fine. You want to play. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, you're Mr. Tough Guy. You want to play. You always want to be out there. That's just dumb. That's the guy that jumps out of the foxhole. Oh, I'm going to take on that 50 cal, and then
I don't know.
You get that was
I thought of
real
that
brave, real brave. That was good. Congratulations on your bravery, stupidity.
I mean, thought of that in a good, like the way Brady reacted when he went out of the game, because I know people were putting it out like we're reacting to it. His reaction, I kind of took it from a complimentary standpoint. The way he reacted. Everybody else was like, oh, look, he's not a team player, and look how he's reacting when he's not in there. I'm like, no, this is just another reason why he's still playing. I put it like that. I think he really wanted to play that entire game if it were up to him. And he hates seeing anybody on his team playing quarterback.
Okay,
I used it from that standpoint.
And that's that is a microcosm of part of the issues with the Buccaneers. Is listen, you want to give Brady everything that he needs to win. But I think one of the things that Arians was really good at was saying no to Brady when he did stuff like this. And that's the difference between Brady. That's the difference between Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles. That Bruce Arians, as much as Tom Brady hates it, is not a yes man for Tom Brady. He's the head coach, and he knows that his responsibility is to the team, not to Tom Brady. Whereas Bowles rolls over for anything that Tom wants. And want to take 11 days off? Sure, go ahead. I was for it. Yes, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. You want to, go to a birthday party and not come back to be with the team the night before or the morning of? Sure, go ahead, do whatever you want. Lose to the Steelers, who had no defensive backs, then lose to the Panthers the next week. So these are just the things we know about. What else do we not know about? Now, I don't want to turn this into a bashing Brady deal, but these are all facts. And there's no reason that guy should have been out there at that particular time. And only by the grace of God is he still ready to go. He didn't get hurt. Okay, so you never concentrate on the results, folks. You look at the process. And that's bad process. It's just bad process. And it's just further information of what you know of Todd Bowles as a head coach. And here's the
good thing.
Great man, unbelievable defense coordinator. I'd always want him to be my DC. I'm not a big fan of Todd Bowles, the head coach.
I'll tell you what.
That's one of the reasons.
I had other problems with this game from other guys playing, and even more so than Brady. I mentioned to you that Antoine Winfield has had multiple concussions this year, correct?
Yeah. No business being out there.
I understand,
and an ankle injury.
And an ankle injury. I understand that they're shorthanded and you don't have 90 guys like the preseason. I get it.
Somebody had to play.
But
that's why I'm not bitching about the Hainsey injury. He had
that's
to play.
That's what I'm saying.
Center.
Hainsey had to play center. There's nothing else there.
Absolutely.
So I don't blame. It just happens. It was a hamstring early on. It happens.
That's part of it. That's something that's almost he had to be out there.
To quote Brian Leftwich, that's football.
Yeah.
But no, Antoine Winfield though playing the entire game.
Yeah.
Like I saw him in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, I'm a little bit. I'm like that one. A little bothers me more than anything.
I couldn't account for everybody on the field, but. Because I know Logan Ryan didn't play, which was good. But, I kind of feel like anybody they could have got out of there in the second half, they got out of there. So there must have been a reason.
They all kind of have made a mass exit. I think, honestly, I'm trending more towards the whole thing when we ask why did Brady go out there when Hainsey. I'm trending more so to get a few snaps with Nick Leverett in that setting. Because I'm trending more to that because after that one series, everybody came out on that offense. Everybody came out.
It was also the series that we had two unblocked guys. So that may have been another reason. And who could have seen that coming as a head coach? Who could have predicted that? Everybody. It's your job, man. Again, it's not the results is not what it's the process, man. And look at that. He just had a free shot, a couple of free shots on Brady. Sure, everybody take a shot. And it was very instructive because I think a lot of people thought that this Atlanta Falcons team was just going to lay down. No. And we heard it from Dave Archer last week on Thursday that they were going into this game with their hair on fire, that this was the beginning of their 2023. And did you see Arthur Smith on the sideline? That dude was intense. He was intense, like it was a freaking game for his coaching life. And so they were playing for reals. They were playing for reals, and we knew they would. And that's why you can't have Brady in the game. But of course, they went down the field. They got the touchdown. Good for them. And there were some, I thought there were some good things. Number one, I know 83 didn't catch everything that came his way. It certainly wasn't his fault, Devin Tompkins.
Mm-hmm.
But dadgum, that kid is explosive. On the end around, he gets 16 yards. You got to ask yourself, why in the hell has this guy not been part of this offense all year long? He's a speed burner. And you know what else? He sticks his nose in there. He sets the tone. He's a 160-pound guy soaking wet who will just try to run over people. And that means something to a team. Instead of putting a guy out there who was wearing number 1, who's intensely afraid of any contact whatsoever, and telling the rest of your team, we're going to keep putting him out there even though he doesn't want to, get any contact for this team. And you got a guy, 83, who showed you in training camp, by the way, that he was better than 1. And it took you 14 weeks to get rid of that bum, number 1, Dalen Darden. And this guy's got explosive speed. What have we been missing more than anything on this offense? Explosive speed. And this kid 83 is not up to speed just yet. And why have we not been working him in as the season going along? Why can't this coaching staff recognize talent when it's there and use it? That's another huge beef I have with this coaching staff this year. And and I hate to come on here and just bitch and moan on this Monday, but we saw more things in this game that give me more pause about moving forward with Todd Bowles. I understand they won the division championship. He's going to be the coach next year. I get all that. But I'm sorry. I don't think he's a great head coach. And I love the man. I love the man dearly. He's an unbelievable dude. I just don't think he's head coach material. And this game further solidified that for me. The way the whole thing was managed. Well, terrible game.
Regardless how you feel about him or how I feel about him. Right. He's the head coach. He ain't going anywhere. I think 100% he's going to be the head coach next year, regardless how we feel. And he's got this team in the playoffs. I mean, at the end of the day, somehow, and if you go through the entire timeline here, and I really go back to Brady's initial retirement because that's when it began. If you look at from that period, January to January, it has been a year, has it not?
Oh, my God, yes.
Regarding this franchise.
It's like you said, man. This has been nothing but noise.
It's been a noisy. It was a noisy offseason.
Clanging cymbals and offbeat drums.
Yeah, and a lot.
If we had a song that would encapsulate this season, it would be clanging cymbals and offbeat drums.
And it's almost amazing that here we are sitting and we have a playoff game to talk about Monday night on a primetime at home, which has not happened many times in this franchise's history. So when you kind of look at it that way. How do you sum up the season? We still feel like they underachieved massively. Obviously, an 8-9 record is not what any of us had here, and we would have told you they would have been far on the outside of the playoffs if you had an 8-9 record. But you get lucky with the division. But given everything that's gone on, from coaching, from injuries to the mass exodus of really good players, like we've mentioned already, the Marpettes, the ABs, the Gronks, etc., Jedson, the fact that they find themselves in the playoffs, it's remarkable, actually. I'm not saying that it's been great, but it's almost remarkable that somehow they find themselves in here.
Look at this number I'm circling right here. The Buccaneers won the division at 8-9. All the other 3 teams were 7-10. But the Buccaneers had by far and away the worst net points. They're minus 45 in points this year. Point differential, minus 45.
And if you minus the
Panthers are minus 27. The Saints were minus 15, and the Falcons were minus 21. You were minus 45.
And that's what I'm saying. It's remarkable that they have gotten into the playoffs.
You are awful. Listen, I'm not going to – you went 0-5 outside the conference. So it wasn't like, these were good teams beating up on each other.
And if you and I throw away
every one of these teams, every one of the teams in the division, the Panthers were 1-4 non-conference. The Saints were 2-3. The Falcons were 1-4 non-conference. It's not like any of them did anything. You got lucky because you were with 3 other terrible teams going through quarterback and coaching transitions, and you were 8-9. And listen, I understand this was not the same team. It's not the same team. Gronk is a massive loss, especially with what you had to replace him with. Jason Light has been fantastic in player acquisition over the last 3-4 years, but the Cal Rudolph thing was a huge swing and miss. Oh, but he got a touchdown. That was a huge swing and miss. I thought it was a good pickup, but clearly he had nothing left in the tank. Nothing left in the tank. And I don't think they went to Kate Otten as well as they should have this year, as early in as well.
Yeah.
I think what's one of the main things that this coaching staff did wrong was their player management, their game management. And you could talk about the offensive line. I think they had 7 different combinations. But they still had, going into the season, 2 of the best tackles in the league, one of the best tackle tandems. They still had a former Pro Bowler in Shaq Mason at one guard, Hainsey, who I think played well. The left guard they completely mismanaged for the first 6-7 games of the season. So here's the thing: every team goes through transition, right? But your core of your team was the same. So do we expect them to go from 30 points, 31 points a game to 18 points a game? No, that's a humongous historic drop off. You got to coach around it. This is my point. This is my point about this coaching staff. When you have changes, you've got to coach around it. It's easy to say, well, it's not the same personnel. These are NFL football players. Okay, we see it. We saw the Lions go out there and beat the Packers last night. All right, which team has much more talent? The Packers, obviously. Although the Lions are on the come. Don't get me wrong.
I think they're pushing them, actually.
I love that team. I freaking love Dan Campbell as head coach. Remember, we mocked him on his first, kneecapping press conference. But I love that team. I love the way they play, the heart that they play with. My God, unbelievable. By the way, the Lions' point differential this year was plus 26 at 9-8. They don't get into playoffs. The Vikings at 13-4. Their point differential is -3. That's unbelievable. That's insane. That's never happened in the NFL, not even close. But the point being, when you have transition, you got to identify players, okay, move them into those positions and make them play as close to the previous person as you can. Kate Otten's never going to be Gronk. I get it. But you got to get more out of the tight end position than you did this year. Okay? We were never going to replace Ali Marpet, an all-pro guard. But you had a guy in Nick Leverett that's been around, and you knew who he was, and you started Gedeke anyway for 6 freaking weeks, knowing that he's the worst offensive lineman in football. This is my problem. Devin Tompkins sat on the bench almost the entire year long. I mean, and these are just the things we know. So this is, yes, it was a different team, but you went from 13 wins to 9 wins, and your offense was ridiculously deficient on so many levels. So no, I'm not going to celebrate this. And this is, I'm going to get all this bitching out of the way this week, right now. I'm not going to be one of these people that just, you won the division. You won a division. You're the division champs. No, you're not. No, you're not. You lucked into something. Now, you want to go make something of it? Let's go. I'm all for it. Let's go.
Well, I'm going to be that guy because, again, as somebody who's been a fan of this team, I have witnessed I've way more losing, and I'm going to take something out of the fact that I have been able to see a playoff team here for 3 years because I never saw one until these 3 years. Honestly, I never did. So I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to root my ass off for this game on Monday night. I mean, they're hosting a playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys, a team that's notorious for choking.
I'm not. We're going to get into that.
I know we have plenty.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that that's not a great feeling for a lifelong Buck fan. I get that. I get it. But let's not judge this season by the ridiculous mediocrity of this team's history. Can we get away from that? The whole idea of
I know that
we've
the
sucked
expectations
for all these years, so at least we made the playoffs. Okay, great. I get it. But let's not use that as an excuse for saying that this team didn't drastically underachieve.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we go back to our schedule predictions at the beginning of the year, I'm sure I had this team at like 13-4 or something. Like we probably had it around there. Like
I said 9 wins, 8 wins. They only got 8 wins.
They only got 8 wins out of 17. I'm not going to sit up here and we have it all year.
I said the 11.5 was the over under, and I took the under. I thought 11-10 was where they would be with this schedule, but the schedule turned out to be a lot softer than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
because they didn't face a lot of the quarterbacks I thought they might be playing.
Yeah, and they like, again, we've been through it. The Steelers game, the Panthers game, the Browns game. Those are games right there that they needed to have. And if you win those games, we're talking about an 11-win football team, and it's a lot
totally different. Totally
there's a whole different narrative.
But you can't lose to the Steelers in that situation.
Well,
you can't lose to the Panthers in that situation.
It happened, but like you always say,
Cleveland, okay.
But like you always say, though, they're 0-0 now.
They are.
They're 0-0. And when you get into the playoffs, and I know that it's tested me, and I've been asking this question all year long, okay? And then TJ has talked me off the ledge on the TJ Tuesdays about, can Tom Brady still be that guy late in the game in a big situation? And honestly, we've seen it he's stolen 4 victories at least this year for the Bucs late in the game.
God, yes.
And he's continued to prove that he can still do it. Now we go to the playoffs. Is he still? I've been asking that question. And he continues to kind of show me that he still can be that guy. I have questions about a lot around him, but he still can be that guy. And I have to be thinking, do the Cowboys really want to play this guy in round 1 in Tampa Bay on a Monday night? He's never lost to the Cowboys. That's when even though it's been so bad, and I know that I'm probably just fanning out right here, trying to be optimistic, but I look at the rest of the NFC and I ask myself, do any of them really want to play Tom Brady in a playoff game still? No. So when you say it, and even you to admit it, there's some hope there.
Well, listen, this is where I'll transition. Okay, I purged my system of what I needed to purge it from. Okay, I've said my piece, right? Okay, now let's have some fun. Here come them Cowboys. I'm going full Stephen A. Smith on this one. I'm going full Stephen A. Smith on this one. I'm going to take off the glasses for this one. Did you see that steaming pile that the Cowboys put out there yesterday? Go to my Twitter and see if you can get the video. It was so bad. It was so freaking bad yesterday. They're playing in the Washington Commodes, whose coach didn't even know they were eliminated last week after the game. That's how stupid. Are you kidding me? The Washington Commodes, featuring a guy who'd never started an NFL game before. Speaking of mismanaging your roster. And you know what? Not only did Washington beat their ass, they embarrassed them. They embarrassed the freaking Cowboys. That was an ass kicking. So much so that even Jerry Jones had to say, do you have it? This is funny. I hope the audio is good enough for you to turn it all the way up. So this was on Get Up this morning. You're going to hear Jerry Jones, and then you're going to hear Rex Ryan drop an F-bomb on the Cowboys on live TV. So here we go.
For me, I mean, not to use the language, but simple as that. 14 completions, I mean,
14.
Yeah, not good enough, period.
We get to suck on that all week. And if that doesn't make you want to get ready to go in about 6-7 days, nothing else will. And that was as thorough butt kicking as we've had this year. And we're going to find out if that'll get you ready or not.
Hey, first off, pause. They actually get to suck on it for 8 days because they don't play till Monday night. Why was it run that back? It was a very unusual way of putting that. But one way or another, Rex, if we could try and rein this back in. That was an embarrassing performance in a game they didn't need, but they somehow managed to make everything worse by playing everybody and playing that bad.
Yeah, and if you're going to play everybody, you expect to blow the doors off of the other team, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you should. But the exact opposite happened. Mm-hmm. So this is the worst thing that could have happened to you. It reminds me back of the old day with, remember the Bengals did that against us with the Jets?
Yes.
And we beat them 37-0. They smoked them again the next week. That's what's going to happen here. Like, I'm not. They should blow out. From on paper, they should kill Tampa Bay. They should have killed Washington. The lack of professionalism by this team, I'm just telling you, that is absolutely awful. They play down to their competition. And guess what? That's not a good thing. That's a freaking horrible thing. Yes. That means you lack it. You're supposed to be a great team. How the hell did you win 12?
He dropped an F-bomb. He was so pissed off. And then Dan Orlovsky went on to basically point out and show how bad Dak Prescott is playing. He's thrown an interception in 7 straight games, and I think it's 3 pick sixes in the past 4 games or something like that.
I think he leads the league in picks since he came back.
Yeah, definitely leads the league in picks since he came back. Yeah.
But this is not. I don't know. I mean, this is the concern, I guess, and they pointed out right there when you play your starters and it goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, we talked about this leading to the Bucs game. What happens if it goes horribly wrong? Thankfully, it didn't.
Well, you lost the game 30-17.
Okay, well, I'm judging them when the starters win there.
Okay.
They were winning the game like 17-10 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but this is when it can go horribly wrong, and now you have zero momentum going to the playoffs, and you're questioning yourself. But Dallas, though, since Dak has come back, even with him leading the league in picks since, they're averaging 32 a game.
Yeah.
And that's with scoring 6 points in the finale. They're averaging 32 points per game since he came back against Detroit in like week 9 or what it is, an 11-game sample size. So a pretty good one at that.
Yeah.
This team can score a lot of points when they want to. When they want to is the question mark there.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is who Dallas necessarily is.
No, I honestly believe when you take your foot off the gas pedal even this much in the NFL, and you have a motivated team like the Washington, they quote nothing to play for, but they do have something to play for. These guys all have pride. And especially when it's a division game like that, you're going to get the best out of the commodes.
By the way, I don't think Washington's that bad of a football team.
Well, with Sam Howell back there, they ain't too bad. Did you see his touchdown run?
Yeah. But I mean, this was
first pass was a touchdown.
This was classic. You have zero film to go off of. It's the last game of the season. You're already clinched in. You're playing for quote unquote nothing. And now here comes a rookie quarterback. We've seen this happen throughout the year. We always see this narrative. But no, the Commanders have a really good defense. We know that.
Yep.
They got playmakers up and down that offense, which we saw in this game. I mean, I don't think that they're a bad football team necessarily, but to your point, I mean, when you take your foot off the gas pedal, the motivation's not there, whatever it is, that happens. And sometimes their offense, it doesn't happen often, maybe like once every 4 or 5 games, Dallas will have a game like this where everything unravels. And so that's what's got me questioning. Are they going to do it 2 weeks in a row?
Well, here's the thing. Do I think Dallas is going to play that poorly in this Monday night game? Hell no. They got 8 days to prepare. That game against the Commodes is going to be long gone in their memory. But I do say this. I think it does play into the mindset this week. All right. Because everybody's going to be laughing at the Cowboys like we just did. Everybody's going to be laughing at the Cowboys. Stephen A. Smith is going to be, all over him. Everybody's going to be, if the Bucs take that bait and think that Cowboy team is going to show up, then they might as well not show up, because that's not the team. The Cowboys are going to be here and they're going to be ready to go. But there will be some doubt in their mind as to the difference between coming in after a game like that and coming in after like you just blew somebody out, like a freight train. If they'd have scored 35 on Washington and came in here like that, their swagger would be up. There ain't no doubt about it. Their swagger is going to be a little down. I don't think there's any question about that. And all the questions about the Cowboys choking are going to come in. And it's going to be all week long. That's all they're going to be asked. Oh, here come the playoffs, and the Cowboys are playing their worst football. That we'll hear from Brady Tinker, who's been covering the Cowboys forever, later on in the show from Dallas, and he's going to tell us the same damn thing. And there's, this is a team with flaws. There's no question about it. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the run. They are a flawed football team,
and
as,
the Bucs,
as are every football team.
And I know that it seems like eons ago, but the Bucs did play this team in week 1.
They did.
And what's the only game this season the Bucs have had really any success with the run game consistently?
That was a matchup.
Was that game.
That was a matchup that and teams just match up against other teams. And the Bucs played, I would say, arguably their best game, because they only beat 2 teams with a winning record this year, and that's Seattle.
Was that their largest? I believe that was their largest win.
I think it was
of the season.
Yeah, and if you remember, you go back, the Bucs scored 19 points.
Yeah,
and I think they were 1 for 4 in the red zone, again portending what was to come. But they moved the ball at will. And their defense was lights out. Dak got hurt and had to come out of the game. So the Bucs dominated the Cowboys.
Yeah, and another thing you're seeing with this Bucs defense, and we saw it yesterday. Remember, we went a good 10-game stretch. It felt like during the season where this team couldn't buy a turnover.
Yeah,
the Bucs, and we were just like, we can't get a fumble, we can't get somebody just to could create a turnover for themselves and the Bucs benefit.
Even when they knocked the ball out,
yes, all of a sudden, they're getting them like gifts.
Yeah,
Devin White has gotten 3 turnovers in the last 5 games, and they've all been kind of gifts right there for him. Like yesterday, Desmond Ridder just straight up drops the ball, and Devin White picks it up. All of a sudden, they're starting to get those breaks go their way defensively.
That's nice.
And now it's about the offense obviously cashing in on those. Well, that's still to be determined if they can do it. But it's good to see, especially how we just mentioned, a team that's very turnover worthy right now.
Yeah. By the way, just quickly on the Falcons, Desmond Ridder looks like the real deal. I love the way he moves.
3 80-yard drives in a row for a touchdown.
I love the way he moves
against the Bucs backup.
I love the way he throws. I love his accuracy. There's a lot to like about that kid. And again, and I got to question Arthur Smith. Why the hell did you not play him earlier in the season? That to me, especially with as many games as Desmond Ridder played in college,
it's probably loyalty to Mariota.
He won what, the third most?
He's one of the winningest of all time
in the history of college football. And you're sitting there playing with a guy in Marcus Mariota because you know him. Because you've been there, you're loyal to him. I'm not there in practice,
but hold on.
So I don't know.
Well, with the benefit of everything, though, this was a really bad division. There was a time where the Falcons were right in the thick of this race, and they were winning. They were 5-5 at one point, were they not? 4-5 maybe.
Yeah.
With Mariota.
Yeah.
They were piecing it together a little bit. They had an identity, run the football, whatever, but then he just started turning it over more.
Man,
you didn't want to put a rookie into that situation.
The ceiling on that was like Andre the Giant going into a small townhouse with 8-foot ceilings. I mean, you're just like, you're not going anywhere, man. You're just like, ooh, we're getting along with Mariota throwing for 95 yards a game.
It's not sustainable.
When you got this kid on the bench who just won more football games than only 2 other quarterbacks in the history of college football and can clearly run around and make plays. I mean,
but teams make the mistake.
Thank
of doing
God
that
the
all
way
the
you
time,
managed
though.
your team, good for you. But yeah, and again, I'm not there in practice. Maybe the kid was clueless as far as running the offense and couldn't spit the plays out. I mean, I doubt that because he's been around a lot. But whatever, that's their problem. But that kid,
have a good.
It looks like Atlanta has their quarterback.
They got a good nucleus. Ritter, there at quarterback. I think he's done enough to give you another year.
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
Algier just ran for 1,000 yards.
That's a good running back. So really tough, good running back.
Really good running back there.
Really good running
Drake
back.
London, we know, has a lot more potential, but he just needs find that quarterback connection. He'll get
Kyle Pitts.
And Kyle Pitts, hopefully they can unlock something from him after this weird year where Arthur Smith didn't really use him and injuries.
That's kind of bizarre.
But they have a nucleus there at every position on offense. So Atlanta's a team that in the future I think will be a player.
Okay. We got Sandra Golden at 11:20. We got Brady Tinker at 11:40. We want to get to the Bowles sound and the Brady sound, and there's so many other. I'm going to get to your comments too. Let's do this real quick. We got some comments in here. I haven't read James's stuff yet, but I'll just put it up. If it pisses me off, it pisses me off. And preseason, we love you, James. By the way, we love you. We don't want you to go away. We love you. We love that you bring an alternative view sometimes. So it's all good. So the preseason, our backups couldn't beat opponents' backups, so no way they can beat starters. So personnel department needs an overhaul. I'm not really worried about our backups at this point. We're going into the playoffs. Yeah, our backups have not been good.
I was going to say,
I care about the starters, and Light's done a tremendous job. He hasn't, you're not going to hit them all, but over the last few years, I think what he's done is.
Yeah, it's hard to judge. It's hard to judge a lot of guys who come in at a random spot there in the first half and play the rest of the game against their starters. By the way, I think everybody's going to look at Logan Hall, and you look at the box score. I think Logan Hall had a tackle, so minimal impact there as it's been all season. But I think it's clear that guy needs to put on more pounds.
Yeah, no question.
For a second year.
Yeah, we happy Packers are limited. Yeah, we are. Thank you, Eric, for jumping in.
I thought they were going to be dangerous if they got in.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, and we'll get into this a little bit later on, but he's just, is he kind of a drama queen? Yeah, he is. But he just hasn't played well this year. He has a broken thumb. I think he's going to be back with the Packers. The Packers can't trade him. And I don't think he's going to say no to $50 million. I just don't see how he does that. I'll be there for my first playoff game Monday night. All right, Jeremy, good stuff.
See, that's the good stuff.
Brady
right
got his record and Godwin got his bonus.
Yeah.
All is good.
I was going to say right there.
Love you, Joe, but who flipping cares?
Who was it there that said they were going to their first playoff game Monday night? I'm sorry, I missed it.
That was
it
Jeremy, yeah.
See, that's a great thing.
That's a great thing.
That's a great thing right there.
We've only had 10 home playoff games.
Only 10 home playoff games.
Listen, and let me just finish this out by saying, look, I'm excited about this game, and it's a great treat to have a Monday night game. Are you kidding me? Monday night prime time in the playoffs. This has never happened in this stadium to the Buccaneers franchise. That's fantastic. And all the crap that's come before, forget about it. Everything I said earlier, forget. So I'm 100% right. But just forget about it. It's done. It's 0. You're 0-0 now. You're 0-0, which was my point last week. This week didn't matter. All this week mattered was getting through it injury-free and getting ready for the Cowboys. Okay, that's to me should have been the number one goal from the very beginning. But we're here. We're here. It's 0-0. Here come the Cowboys limping into the playoffs, a team that you've already beaten. You got them at home on a Monday night. What more could you want from a team that has been so mediocre? Fantastic. So you're given this gift. Let's enjoy it. Let's go. Let's go have some fun. And if I'm Todd Bowles, I'm sitting there in this meeting this morning and go, hey, guys, listen, we struggled all year. I ain't going to sugarcoat it. Or maybe I'll have Bruce come in and give a speech. I'm so bad. But whatever. House money. We're playing with house money. Let's put the chips in. Let's go. I even saw some creative run game play calling yesterday. There was some interesting stuff yesterday.
Yeah, he had more liberty to kind of, experiment a little bit.
I don't know where the hell that has been all year long.
Like the end around with Devin Tompkins, which we talked about. I love that wrinkle.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah. So
there were a few more other plays I made in my notes here that I'm going to go over a little bit later on. So yeah, there was some creativity. So let's go. Let's do something crazy. Worst team in the history of the playoffs with a -45 differential. We're going to get to play the Cowboys.
I'm going to have to go look that up. How many teams have had a worse differential going in?
I go look at the losing teams first and foremost, and I guarantee it's not 45. 45 is dramatic.
All right, I'm going to look.
It's the worst in our division. It's the worst in our division. It's unbelievable. So, and different point differential means something to me. It's one of the most important stats I think in football, quite frankly. And so here we go. Why not let's go. And look at the NFC. Now Jalen Hurts is hurt. The Eagles, they won yesterday, but
they peaked early.
And they got injuries on defense. It's not just Jalen Hurts' shoulder. They got injuries on defense. They're not the same team. Lane Johnson is hurt. The Eagles are not the same team. Okay. And do you really trust I love Jalen Hurts and he's a winner.
I love Jalen Hurts.
But do you trust him with a bum shoulder in the playoffs? No Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. Here comes San Francisco with Brock Purdy, and I love Brock Purdy.
He continues to check every box.
He does. I'm not one of these guys that he's a rookie, he can't handle it.
That team to me still scares me more than any team.
Absolutely, that's the team I don't.
I think
look what they did to the Bucs. They embarrassed.
I think they're still the favorite
with Brock Purdy.
This might be a hot take. I think they're the favorite in the entire league still, even with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, because the Bills are suddenly showing flaws. The Bills are showing flaws.
Like the Bills, I mean,
the Chiefs though. The Chiefs are rolling.
Yeah, the Chiefs
are freaking rolling. They are really, really good.
I take that back.
But here's the thing about the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is going to have to win a game away from Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl because that championship game is going to be at a neutral site.
I think he can do it.
But he's never done it.
Quarterback in the league.
He's never done it. Never won a playoff game or a Super Bowl away from the friendly confines. Just saying. So if you look, if playoffs are all about,
we'll stick in the NFC point. I mean, go back down the NFC again, and then Minnesota.
They've got a negative point differential.
They got to be the worst 13-win team I've
without
ever seen.
question. There's never been a 12 or 13. They won 13.
I think they won 13 games. I don't know, 12 or 13.
13-4.
Yeah.
-3. -3 point differential. There's never been a 13-win team with a -4.
Yeah.
That I can guarantee.
So I don't trust them.
I ain't got to look that up.
I think the Giants are a great story, but they're not ready yet.
No.
I think we all would agree there.
Hell no.
And then we already talked about Dallas. We already talked about San Francisco. Who am I missing? Seattle, which backdoored their way in.
Yeah. No.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I know this has been a rough season to watch for the Bucs, but by the grace of God, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And when I compare them now to this team with a 0-0 record, I'm like looking at them like, okay, they're no worse than some of these other teams that are in the playoffs, honestly.
And if you go look at the Buccaneers, and this is what, and I hate to say this after all I've already said, look at the way they've been playing recently. Okay, and I know this is a little bit of a little bit of a contradiction to what I just said, but I was talking about the
I think two things can be true.
Yeah, I'm talking about the entirety of the season. Okay, the entirety. Obviously, the middle point of the season, they were awful. After Brady went and did the birthday party thing, they were awful. And then they just got boat raced by the 49ers. But then they come back, all right, and they play the Cincinnati Bengals, which we can agree is one of the 4 teams I think legitimately have a chance to win the Super Bowl, right? And they're up on the Bengals, what, 17-3? 17-3. And they're throwing the ball down the field. Brady's letting it rip. He's hanging in the pocket. And I'm like, damn. Tony Romo's like, wow, I think the Bucs finally unlocked it. They finally unlocked it. Brady's standing in there. He's taking hits, and he's delivering the football on target. And I'm like, okay. And then, the second half happened, and that was just a ridiculous amount of turnovers. So, okay, it is. They go and they win at Arizona. I'm not going to say that, they played lights out football, but there were some good things there. And of course, Brady wins it in the end. And then they did something against the Carolina Panthers I didn't think they could do. They won that football game, and they scored 30 points. I didn't think they were going to beat the Panthers. I didn't think that. I thought the Bucs were going to, if they made the playoffs, they were going to back into the playoffs again, and they kind of did. But they scored 30 points against the Panthers, and they got Mike Evans going. That's a little bit of it gives you a little bit of swagger. Now, Week 18 is absolutely meaningless to me, but the bottom line is you're starting to see some things, and you can. I'm not here to say that Devin Tompkins is Antonio Brown, but you got something there. First of all, he's completely revolutionized your return game. Okay, and don't take that for granted. If you can get good field position instead of constantly crappy field position, that's a huge deal. If you can get to the 35, you can start at the 35 or 40 yard line with Tom Brady. That means he doesn't have to go 16 plays to score a touchdown. You almost cut it in half. That's a big freaking deal for this team. So your return game is improving. I think Tompkins can give you something on offense that you've been missing. It's kind of that Scotty Miller, the touchdown at Green Bay, right? Just to give you a little. That's something that now teams are like, you know what? We gotta watch out for 83. He's just going to run right by us. So that's a little something, a little wrinkle. I think maybe a little wrinkles, some wrinkles in the run game. I think you're starting to see Rashad White, catch the ball and do some things with it. He's a difference maker, that kid. So I think your offensive line, they didn't play worse this week, thank God. So you're going to have both your tackles back, rested for 2 weeks. Nick Leverett should be back, hopefully. And here's the wild card, and I'm not counting on it, but crazier things have happened in this league. What if Hainsey can't play? And by some freaking miracle, Ryan Jensen gets out there and plays, and this team returns to the way they ran the football before? Crazier thing.
Well, here's
I wouldn't count on it because I know he's about 85% in terms of his strength, but that's about what guys are this time of year anyway.
He might now go like, "Hey, coach, I know I'm probably not 100, but I know that Hainsey's limited, or maybe he can't play."
Let's just put it this way: if we were sitting here right now knowing Hainsey can't play, and we had to move Leverett to center and Gedeke to guard, toast. Freaking done.
That's what I was going to say.
We're done.
If Hainsey can't,
we're done.
We'll find out Hainsey's condition later today, but let's say if it's something that he can't go, and I know it, and so you put Leverett at center, it's like, is the only option to put Gedeke at left guard? Is that the only option that I got?
Oh, you could put Mulch in there. You could put Jensen there.
Do I have any more options besides Gedeke or Mulch?
No.
Because I got to tell you, Luke Gedeke, I know he was playing right tackle yesterday. He wasn't really much better, even at right tackle. He's holding guys in space when he doesn't have to. So I think there's just not a lot of confidence in there. No. So if I had to have him starting a playoff game,
if that were me, I'd say, Brian, what can you give us? I'd say you start. I put Leverett at left guard. That's the way I would start the game. I'm telling you, that's the way I would start the game.
Yeah, because Donnie, I mean, I think Bowles even said yesterday, like, Donnie couldn't even have gone yesterday if it was a regular game.
Donovan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donnie wasn't even ready to go yesterday if it was a regular game.
Yeah, that's concerning. That's concerning.
So then are you going to tell me that we're going to have a Donnie who is still trying to find his way up to speed next to Luke Gedeke? Knowing how that went for 6 weeks?
Nah. Although they did beat the Cowboys. And Parsons didn't. I'm trying to think of Micah. He made a couple plays in the game, but not.
I'll put it this way, though. I mean, we're going to have Akeem Hicks back, right? He's not. Is he injured? Like,
No,
he just rested.
He rested him.
I know that. I don't know if this might be a meaningless stat, and it just might be happenstance. But the Bucs are 6-1 when Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea play together.
But wow,
6-1.
That's a wow.
I don't know if that stat means anything because the offense has been poor.
When you won 8 games,
you've won 6 of your 8 games with those two next to each other.
Yeah, that's 8. It's close to 80%.
May or may not mean something.
Or more. Yeah, it means something. Absolutely, 100% does, especially against a team that wants to run the football in the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, of all the crap that's gone on this year, to sit here, to be 8-9, and to be in this situation that we just described against the team that's limping in here, it's the most you could ever hope for. And it really is trending in the right direction. It's trending in the right direction. Now, the Cowboys can come in here and beat the brakes off the Bucs. It wouldn't shock me. But chances are it'll go just like most of the games have this year. It'll be close. It'll come down to the end. And who do you take? Dak, no playoffs worth of crap. Prescott or Tom freaking Brady? You take Tom freaking Brady. 100 times out of 100. All right, we're gonna hit our first break. That was a good 51 minutes of all Buccaneers. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll take our first break. We'll catch up on some of the spots here, and we thank our advertisers for allowing us to do this like we do it. Our thanks to BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo was on with us a couple times last week. Love his perspective on everything. If you're looking to lose weight or testosterone replacement therapy, he is your man. They are the folks over there at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. And the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you have been in an accident, your car has been totaled, you don't think you got what you deserve, probably did not. Call and find out if you have a case. They can get you thousands or hundreds of dollars if you have a case. That's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Back at 3, we'll hear from Brady and Bowles. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance,
and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right. Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by great folks at the Jeeves Law Group and the Health Insurance Marketplace. It's time to renew or shop your health insurance provider. You can get great health insurance for just $50 a month or less. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. This is not true.
I made the call a few years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $50. It all depends on your income and family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They'll ask some income information, so have your tax returns available. Not necessary, but give them a pretty good idea of what you make per month. Answer some simple questions, and highly trained reps will do the work to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. Even if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. So make the free call. It's been a lifesaver for me. Get covered. No reason not to be covered with health insurance. 888-325-0605. We're going to get ready to play bowls here in just a quick second. A couple of things I want to get to real quick. We're going to have Sandra Golden on coming up at 11:20. She's going to talk about the Georgia Bulldogs and TCU. Brady Tinker will join us from Dallas to talk about that as well. Talk about the Cowboys and TCU. So we'll get great perspectives on that, and we'll get to some of the other NFL stories that are up for grabs. All right, let's get right to this is what I wanted to get to. I'm having a brain fart there. Jordan Gamillion. Jordan G is like my long lost son. This is, you know how I love a good conspiracy theory, right? First of all, he says, just like many Buck fans yesterday, I'd never been more nervous watching a Bucs game until Brady came out of the game. I know how many of you were screaming at the TV, get him the hell out of there. And this is what he says. He says, the Bills are going to win it all. NFL always gears teams that have had adversity or cities with tragedy to win. Every sport does this since the New York teams of 9/11. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but it's happened every single time, from the Boston bombing to Hurricane Katrina. Countless examples. No doubt Buffalo gets every call this playoffs. It's a wrap. He cites the Rams had to win it all in the new stadium due to all the money that was invested in LA with two teams moving there. They wanted to show off SoFi, the final drive of the Super Bowl. The refs extended the drive on third down, right? On penalty calls 3 consecutive times for the Rams to drive down and win it. The man brings facts. That's all I'm saying. The man brings facts. So we talked about the NFL script writers. I think they've been commingling with the WWE guys, to be quite honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Think of it.
Those are also like 3.
At the end of the game the other day for NFL game, I think I saw the co-written by, screenplay by. I don't know. I could be wrong. Now I will say this: wouldn't the NFL have wanted Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs?
Hell yeah!
Of course.
You think they wanted the Seahawks in there?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Geno Smith's a great story. The forgotten one. The forgotten Geno Smith.
Is that really a great story anymore?
Not that much. No. But
I guess so. It's a good story.
That's the point.
It's a good story, actually. I take it back.
It is a good story.
Because they're in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos are not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That of itself is an interesting story. But when I always do have that in the back of my mind, though, no question about it. All right, here's Todd Bowles after the game yesterday, answering some interesting questions vis-a-vis who played, why they played, etc.
Coach, I know you wanted to win the game, but how difficult was it to try to accomplish that when you're also alternately trying to preserve players, take time out, etc.?
I don't think it was difficult. Young guys had a chance to step up. They've been with us all year. We expect them to play the same way with little drop-off. We have more drop-off than we wanted to. And given the opportunity, those guys got to play better.
You had a couple guys leave the game with injury. Center Robert Hainsey left with a hamstring injury. Do we know how serious that is? Keanu Neal also left.
There's no update yet on either of them.
How tough is a game like this when you know it doesn't have impact on the standings or seeding, but you still have to get through the game? Is this just an unusual week for you that way?
No, it's not tough at all. It's a division game. We're trying to win the game. Regardless of who's out there, we're trying to win the game. We went in halftime with a lead. We should have been able to preserve the lead and try to win the ball game. We got beat on fundamental stuff with some of the younger guys, and we got to go back to the drawing board with those guys.
Left guard, step in at the right field position where he played in college. Just your thoughts on how he fared there, stepping in for Tristan.
I really have to look at the tape to be sure, but I know he fought, and one thing I know he did was fight, so I'll go back and look at the tape.
Yeah, he almost started a couple fights actually.
Because you have a playoff game, that's really all that matters now in the season anyway. How do you kind of wash this one away and try to keep the momentum that you felt after winning last week going into that?
We got some good work in the first half. Everybody understands what's at stake. We understand what we were doing coming into this ball game. So the momentum we have, it's a clean slate season. The momentum was to keep playing. I think if you rest them and don't play them at all, I think you lose the momentum. But we still have that competitiveness and that eager to go once the game started. I thought we started fast on both sides of the football. So that's still there, and that was important.
You had some guys that have been play today, like Donovan Smith, Vita Vea. Could any of those guys have not gone today if they needed to play today?
I don't know if Donovan would have been ready. Vita could have played. Vita could have played. I'm sure Tristan could have played. And, but we give them an extra week to get better as opposed to just play it week by week. That was the smarter thing to do.
Is there a message in the locker room just in terms of putting this behind you and now just focusing on the playoffs ahead?
Well, it's one and done. It's one and done. We understand what's at stake. We got a home game. We'll wait and see who we're playing later on. We'll get ready to play. We'll see what days we have to play and what days we have to come in on. So all that'll take care of itself later on.
Drive, you guys scored a touchdown for just the third time this season. Just how important was it for you guys offensively to get off to a fast start like that? Because that's something that's kind of eluded you throughout the year.
We talked about starting fast on both sides of the football, getting out early and then getting stops and getting the ball back. So we accomplished that the first drive on both sides of the ball. So that was important.
Tom Brady. It seems like every game we're asking you about some record that he broke. Today he broke his own NFL record for completions, 490 on the year. Just what can you say about him? I know it seems like you've said just about everything there is to say, but what can you say about him?
Too many passes.
He continues to defy time. Father Time's having a heck of a time with Brady. So he works hard. He loves to play the game. He's like a little kid out there. He loves to compete, and everything else has already been said.
Take him out. Was he happy about that, or did he want?
No, he was fine. He was fine.
And your thoughts on how Kyle Trask fared when he stepped in his first NFL action in the regular season?
He was poised. That's tough. They put him in that situation when you haven't played all year. He ran the offense. That's about all he could do.
Thoughts about whether it's Dallas or Philadelphia? You played the Cowboys once. Is that an advantage for you, having seen them, beaten them?
Not really. We don't have any thoughts on it. Either one's going to be tough, so we'll just be ready for who we play.
So you think that this week you can make all the improvements to go deep into the playoffs?
It's a one-and-done season. We'll get ready to play, and we'll load up the wagon, and we'll see who we play, and we'll try like hell to win the ball game.
Mike Evans was active and dressed, but he didn't see any action and left the game with illness. Do we have any idea on the severity of the illness?
It's a bug going around the building. A couple guys been sick this week. It happened to him this morning. Had no energy, so we held him out.
Smart.
Hainsey, how do you feel about your overall health of the team? I mean, given that you'll have another week before you have to play.
I think we got through pretty good. I'll see when I go in there, but see how serious Keanu and Hainsey is, and we'll kind of go from there. But for the most part, we'll be okay.
You're just the fifth NFL team to reach the postseason with the losing record, fourth to lose to win a division with a losing record. Does that bother you at all?
We won the division. We understood that. That's all that counts.
Yeah, again, if they had to win that game yesterday, I think they would have won it. It wouldn't have been easy, but I think they could. I think if they had to win it, it wouldn't have been a gimme. The Falcons are, they're a team on the come, and I think they found their quarterback as well. And it's interesting to look at the schedule for next year for the Buccaneers. At least they know the teams that they're going to play. Of course, Falcons and Panthers at home, and Saints. Also, they got the Bears at home, who are still in a rebuild, but Justin Fields coming in.
Number 1 overall pick, I believe, right?
Yeah, they got the number 1 overall pick. They don't need a quarterback, so they're going to turn that into multiple first-round picks.
Yeah. Lovie Smith still helping out the Bears, man.
How about that? Lovie goes for 2 and takes the Texans out of the window. He knew he was going to get fired.
And then he's unemployed a few hours later.
But that's just a nice parting gift to the stupid-ass Texans. What an awful organization. Lions and boy, are they a team on
the Lions and the Jaguars,
Lions.
2 of the top teams on the come right now.
Yeah, Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Here comes Duval. That's a team that's got some good young talent on it. They really do. I think the Jaguars are poised to make a little bit of a run.
And they got a good coach in Doug Peterson that's going to keep them together. That's a team to watch next year. The Saints, obviously, the Eagles are coming in here next year. That's going to be a huge game. That'll be a primetime game, I guarantee it, if Brady's still around. And the Titans, who are kind of a little bit of
they're reeling.
I think they're trending down. I think
when you
peaked.
lose 7 in a row to end the season,
I think they've kind of peaked
in an equally bad division. Not good.
Yeah, well, we'll see where they go. And the road opponents, and they're going to play 9 road games next year. So they got the Falcons, obviously Saints and Panthers. The Bills, they got to go on the road to Buffalo. You better hope like hell that's an early season game.
I might make my return to Buffalo for that.
Yeah,
just maybe.
Yeah,
but I probably won't wear any Bucs gear though.
The Packers are coming to town, most likely with Aaron Rodgers.
We're going to Green Bay.
Going to Green Bay. Yeah, so look at this. I mean, you got to go to some cold weather spots here, very possibly. The Bills and the Packers, they go to Houston. The Colts, the Vikings, Saints, and 49ers. Got to go to San Francisco again.
Why do we have to keep going out there?
Their first place team.
When was the last time this team came here?
49ers? God, I can't remember. Oh, they were here.
I can vividly remember right now 4 games in my head when we had to go to San Francisco, and I can't remember one for the life of me where they came here.
They were here at the beginning of 2 years ago because Saleh was the defensive coordinator. It was 2019, I think it was the opener 2019.
Oh yeah, and they beat the brakes off Bruce's first game.
Yeah,
Jameis threw 3 picks. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. That was the last time. So interesting situation right there. All right, let's get to Thomas Edward Patrick Brady.
Put the junior at the end.
And his thoughts on this game and going into the playoffs. And look, Brady's going to bring his very, very notable record. He's never lost to the Cowboys. Never lost to the Cowboys.
Never lost to the Falcons. Oh, no.
Well, that's his first loss.
Does that go against his record, though? He was winning, though. I'm not putting it against him.
That is people were asking that on Twitter. I think if you start, it's like a starting pitcher. I think if you start,
the game, you get the loss.
You get the L.
You get the L.
Which is meaningless.
It's just stupid.
Yeah. Well, some of these records are kind of meaningless too. Let's just be honest.
Probably.
Yeah.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? You guys had
somebody
that first
just say,
drive,
"How are you?"
For a
Ask
touchdown.
a question.
And I know you had a big game last week, so do you feel like there's some momentum you can carry in these last few weeks as an offense into the postseason?
Yeah, I think every week's going to be a new week for us, and it's always tough to lose, and but we got to put everything we can into this week. So this is everyone's works hard to get to this point, and now it's there's no more second chances.
I think it's the first time you've been in the playoffs with a team that won a division with a losing record.
Yeah.
How does that strike you, and what does that say about the challenge ahead?
Oh, it's a big challenge. I think every team's going to be challenged. There's only 14 teams qualify. There's only one that's happy about in the end. So it's got to fight hard. Got to try to earn it. We've had some, been battle tested, had some tough games. Some we came back from, some we haven't. And, but like I said, close won't be good enough going forward for anybody.
Record 0-0.
Any part of you going into these playoffs think I'm going to smell the roses just a little bit more just in case I make a decision if this is it?
I haven't thought about any of that. So just want to be the best I could be for my teammates every day and show up to work like a professional and come out and play good.
Wasn't the outcome that you wanted, but you managed to break yet another record this year, 490 completions, bested your 485 from last year. Just what can you say about having the opportunity to go out there and break new records at 45?
I always, just love going out there to compete and love with my teammates and love competing with those guys. Got a great group of guys that I go to work with every day. And, we try to show up for everybody and be the best we could be. So, this is going to be, these are all team records in my opinion. I've always said that. I don't catch one ball. I think I caught 1 or 2 in my career. That's right. Well, yeah, that one stunk. I've had a few bad ones that didn't go well at all. And then maybe 1 or 2 that went okay. So those are hard to come by.
How did you play about as much as you expected to play today under the circumstances?
I was trying to play as long as I could. I really was, but we just had so many injuries and there were so many people going in and out, and it just got, it's tough. You want to give other people opportunities to play. I played a lot this year, so good to see Blaine go in there and play and throw a touchdown. Good to see Kyle play a little bit. So those are all positives.
Does the record matter for you? Because you've said it time and time again.
It doesn't matter.
You do the best you can in the regular season, but when the postseason comes, it's a whole new season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't. I was part of teams that were really good and didn't make it very far. I've been with teams that were fighting really hard and made it a long way. So everything will be determined by what we do from here going forward. Hopefully we've learned a lot from what's happened over the course of the season. And now we just got to go put our best foot out there, offensively, defensively, special teams. Got to get a lot of guys healthy and, put our best group out there and see if we can go. It's really doesn't matter. You don't think about winning anything more than one game. So you can only win one game a week. The team that wins is the one that plays the best that day, not the team that had the best record or the home field. The team that plays best that day is the team that advances.
How special is it to be leading your team to the playoffs at age 45 compared to 25?
It's pretty good at 25 too. So 25, 35, 45, it's pretty good to be in the playoffs.
You've spoken in the past about the offense's efficiency in no huddle versus scripted. 17 points in the first half, largely under a scripted plan. Can you just talk a little bit about that and how you feel about that going into the playoffs?
I think, however, we need to, move the ball down the field and score points. I'm cool with fast, slow, run it, throw it, screens, bombs, whatever it takes to get the ball in the end zone. So it'll be you're going to play the best teams with the smallest margin of error, and we got to, call our best stuff.
You played Dallas last year, or Philly last year. You played Dallas this year in the opener. Any thoughts about those two teams? You're familiar with both of them.
Yeah, very good teams, and both are very good. I mean, we played Dallas twice. Yeah, I played Dallas twice. Once last year, once this year. Played Philly twice last year. So a little familiarity with both of them, and we're ready to go. Whoever it is, I'm sure this will be our best week of prep, and got to go out there and play our best.
100 catches this season and managed to reach 1,000 yards after having a devastating knee injury. And you yourself know what it's like coming back from that. What can you say about what he was able to do this year?
Yeah, incredibly difficult. And he's a very tough guy, super resilient. It's not like he's catching passes where he's not getting hit either. I mean, he's in the middle of a lot of bodies a lot of the time, and he just shrugs them off and gets up and does his work and never complains, and run game, pass game, screen game, whatever it takes. So that's why he's a champion. He's one of a kind type player.
Yeah, Tom Brady there on all things yesterday, and Godwin has just been unbelievable. And I do kind of feel like in the last few games I've seen a little bit more burst from him.
Yeah, I like to see him stop putting the ball on the ground though a little bit. Although yesterday and I think Schlereth did a good job of describing it. He did everything you're supposed to do.
Same thing on the other one.
It was just Richie Grant, UCF by the way, made an outstanding play and punched it out, peanut style. But still though, I think he's had more fumbles this year than he's had his entire career. So I don't know.
People are definitely aiming at it.
Yeah. By the way, I did a little bit of research here before we hit a break on the teams that had a losing record going to the playoffs, the point differential.
Yeah.
You said the Bucs were minus 45.
Minus 45.
So I pulled up the two most recent examples, which was Seattle in 2010, which won a playoff game.
Yeah.
And Carolina in 2014. The Carolina Panthers had a point differential of minus 35. You said the Bucs were what, 45?
Minus 45, yeah. Wow.
The Seahawks, and like I said, this team won a playoff game, had a negative 97 point differential in 2010.
Crap.
Went 7-9 and won a playoff game.
Both of those teams won home playoff games, and the other team was the Washington team from a couple of years ago that the Bucs beat, which gave them all they wanted.
That was game. Commanders in 2020, right?
Yeah. That was in the COVID year, and Heineke played really well, and that was the team that gave them the most problems in the playoffs.
Yeah, and probably maybe the most nervous game that I think I had to watch that time.
Yeah, so listen, it doesn't matter. It's the NFL, and look at the point spread. The point spread's 3. The Vegas usually knows what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And that tells you they think the Cowboys are 6 points better, which I think is that's what I would have guessed the point spread would be. So you cannot ask for a better situation for the Bucs. I mean, you could ask for them to actually play like they should have played this year, but
the 2020 team had a plus 6 point differential.
The Commodes?
The Commodes, yeah.
Washington? Okay.
7-9 had a plus 6.
Right. Isn't it great that you can just call them the Commodes?
You got me doing it now.
Because nobody's offended. and it mocks the stupid virtue signaling.
Hell, we can call them the pigs because apparently they thought that was a good mascot for them.
Ooh, wow. Okay, yeah. We won't offend anybody that way.
I'm not calling them the Hogs because the Hogs are suing them.
Right.
So I'm going to call them the pigs.
Yeah.
There you go.
That fits perfect for Washington, D.C. Fits perfect for what? That's what they should be called, the pigs, for Washington, D.C. I mean, that's absolutely corrupt pigs. That's what.
I was looking more at the owner, but okay.
That works too. It just keeps on flowing together. Wow. I think we found something there. Absolutely, 100%. All right, quick break. When we come back, Sandra Golden's going to join us from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta to talk about them Georgia Dogs going up against TCU and maybe a little Falcons talk as well. So quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you have a legal issue, go get the best attorney in town. He will fight for you, and he will get results. No question about that. It's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Back at 3. Stay with us.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah, so call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, and the folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. The back to holiday sale is on at the Gold and Diamond Source. after holiday sale. You can get great deals on engagement rings, all kinds of good stuff over there. It's still engagement season. And the birthstone this month is garnet, as in garnet and gold, which segues great into our next guest, the great Sandra Golden from 92.9 The Game. My Seminole brethren. How you doing, darling? How are you?
Awesome. It's a hunker down Monday here in Georgia.
Is that what you
Declares
call
our
it?
governor. We're hunkering down. Go Dogs. That's right.
No wonder he wanted a landslide. That's a great way to do it. You say it's hunker down Monday. And boy, this Georgia program has come a long way since I covered them about eight years ago. They were still winning 10 games under Mark Richt, but they could never get over the hump. Last year they did, and boy, they could not ask for a better situation tonight. I mean, they're a 12.5-point favorite against the team that seems, charmed, but come on now. This Georgia team is way more talented. There's no way they lose this game tonight, right, Sandra? You've never seen Georgia choke at anything.
There's no way, but I did when it came out last Saturday at 13.5. I took TCU at 13.5.
Sure.
And I'm a little bit of a degenerate gambler. Yeah, and I've gone 7-2 with TCU against the spread this year. Nice. Because everybody counts them out. You've seen how they won each game. A lot of them are comebacks. So I think it's going to be maybe a 10-point game. I don't see it a blowout. How are you seeing it?
Oh, I don't see it a blowout at all. I think this Georgia defense is just not the Georgia defense that we've seen over the last few years. You look what LSU did to them. You look, last week as well. They can give up a lot in the passing game. This is not the first round corners and rush guys coming off the edge that we've seen in the past, right? This is not quite what you've seen the last couple of years.
100%. They've given up 1,100 yards against LSU and Ohio State, 9 touchdowns. That's why Kirby was not celebrating so much after that win over Ohio State, because he knew they didn't play their best ball. And quite frankly, Ohio State outplayed them that night. I'm just so intrigued by the little thing. Well, first of all, the best thing that happened to Georgia is that they played Ohio State close. Don't you agree? Yeah. It was one of those kind of uh-oh games.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think that, Kirby got their attention, as he's known to do. But, the wild card in this whole thing is Stetson Bennett. And I do know why, but he just does not get his due, because he's not a 5-star. But he's chased off about 20 5-star quarterbacks that have tried to play ahead of him in Georgia. So he must be doing something right. You've seen him, covered him his whole career. What has this guy got that makes him so special?
He's got some big cojones.
There you go.
JP. He is got swag. He wants to prove the world wrong. Now, last week against Ohio State, we think he kind of went rogue a little bit in terms of kind of went off the game plan. And if you watched, did you see Kirby right at halftime when he went and immediately grabbed him, like took his headsets off, kind of got in his ear?
Yes.
And then as soon as the game was over, when he's on the field, I believe with Molly, he said, Stetson needs to stick to our game plan if we want to win. So, for instance, there was an early read at first quarter, I want to say about 3 minutes and change left. And he should have handed the ball off to Kendall, and he kept it.
Yeah. And
it was a 3rd and 1. He ended up losing 4 yards. They had to kick a field goal or attempt it, and they didn't make it. So that's when you kind of start to watch Kirby on the sidelines, because he's so revealing. Kirby started losing his mind, like, what is he doing? So having said that, when he goes 5 for 5 on the drive in the 4th to win the game, to go down there and get them ahead, when it's on the line, and look at the last 4 quarters of both the game. I mean, he's phenomenal in the games that mattered most. And he's just got that swag, JP. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
His teammates love him, by the way. His teammates absolutely will run through a wall for him.
Sandra Golden joining us here from 92.9 The Game, covers the Georgia Bulldogs. So in this game tonight, is it all about just being able to contain Max Duggan for TCU? I mean, obviously they're nicked up a little bit. Their best running back's a little bit nicked up. But to me, this kid is a lot like Stetson Bennett. He just wills his team to wins time and time again.
Yeah.
I just love the way this cat plays. And the underdog mentality, is that something that Georgia can get caught up in? Like, sometimes you don't want to, you're this big of a favorite, you choke it away because, the sphincter gets a little tight. Let's just be honest. Is that Georgia's DNA to get that way, or will they not be bothered by that at all?
I almost think C.J. Stroud showing him up last week because, the game plan was you got to stop C.J. Stroud. Don't let him beat you with his legs, which is exactly what he did. And then when he found Harrison wide open as well. But I think that having just battled against C.J. and Max is different than C.J. I would say he's more athletic. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
He doesn't have the arm strength, but he is great. So Kendre Miller is TCU has run the ball. And, I went back and looked. I'm like, wait a minute. They rushed for 263 yards against Michigan. Yeah. How did that happen? Yeah. So they are able to run that ball. So if Kendre, which it doesn't look good, that's what I'm hearing from LA, is that Kendre is no-go. But we shall see later on, even if he can go with a knee injury. Yeah. So I don't know. If you stop Duggins, then what happens? One of those.
Well, yeah, if they can't be balanced, then Georgia's got a huge advantage, and it could get ugly. And I just don't want to see that today. I want to see. We've had so many great football games recently, especially those two semifinals were as good as it gets on a day of college football. Man, I had to do a lightning game in between there, so I'm like trying to watch football and hockey, and it was just I had to go back and watch both those games to get a full feel of it. And what TCU did against Michigan in the run game. And on both sides of the line of scrimmage, I thought Michigan was just going to bludgeon them and just out-physical them and just take them to the woodshed. And that never happened. Now, Michigan kind of got away from their game a little bit. Let's just be honest. Harbaugh didn't coach the best game in that way. But still, what TCU was able to do shows me that they can go toe-to-toe with Georgia as well in that category. Would you agree?
I would agree, and many people are pointing to Michigan and the couple of pick sixes. I would say, hold on. Yeah. TCU turned the ball over 3 times as well.
That's true.
You're not remembering that. Yeah. And then the other kind of X factor here is that 3-3-5 defense that TCU runs. Mm-hmm. And Will Muschamp was talking about it on Saturday. It's like, it's almost like trying to all of a sudden defend, when you're running against an option. You just don't see it. It's not that you can't defend it. It's not you can't run against it, but it's something you don't see enough. So it just takes a bit to get used to. Keep your eye on that as well. And then this Quentin Johnson, man, who will be the first receiver off the board in the draft this year, contain him, because you mentioned it, what Georgia has given up in the secondary. They've gotten smoked in the last 2 games.
Yeah, they don't have that shutdown corner that they usually have, do they?
No.
They don't.
They do not. And Keely Ringo's getting shown up a little bit, and he's not happy with it. The other thing is, Brock Bowers was sick last week, so for whatever that means, and you kept wondering, well, where is he?
Right.
Is this his big breakout game? Jalen Carter, who, by the way, you could argue could be the number 1 pick in the draft because now it's Chicago. And Chicago needs the interior, not the edge.
Right.
Jalen Carter could be the number 1 pick. So when he says to you, I'm so disappointed in myself from last week, I thought thoughts and prayers for the Horned Frogs, because that could not turn out well.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point there. And, I think he may be the first pick if Chicago doesn't trade it. We'll see. All right, speaking of the pro football and the Falcons, does that win mean anything yesterday to the Falcons beating Brady and the Bucs, at least for half anyway?
I don't know. What was Brady so upset about? Why was he so pissy on the side there?
Just because he's pissy in general, because he got taken out of the game and he wants to play every down. And I'm like, shut up. You got a third of your offensive line out there, if that, and you're taking hits.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just not even blocking Grady.
Right.
That's not a good thing. Go sit your ass down and get ready for the playoff game and start whining. Stop whining. I get so much crap around here, Sandra, for being hard on Brady. I've been hard on him all year because he hasn't played very well. He just hasn't played. The team hasn't played well, and he hasn't played well. He comes back and obviously is the greatest finisher in the game ever has. But for the majority of the season, he's been missing reads. He's been inaccurate, and that's been a huge part of why the Bucs' offense has fallen off. Now, it's not all his fault. The line is not as good. He doesn't have the weapons. I mean, not saying it's all Brady's fault, but he hasn't played well. And it's mostly because nobody says no to Brady. And he shouldn't have even played yesterday. His 2 starting tackles were out, and then he loses his center and he's still going out there. I'm like, what the F are we doing? Get him the hell out of the game.
And look at the Chargers. They're taking such crap today. Mike Williams is hurt.
Right.
I mean, the question is, why was he even in the game? So I agree with you. All right, so here's back to the Falcons. I'm going to limit it to 30 seconds because I'm so over this season. That win meant a lot for Desmond Ridder. And what you're seeing out of Desmond Ridder, I'm irritated that we only got to see him for 4 games. We should have seen him for 8 or 9. Okay? You're wasting away with Mariota. On the offensive side of the ball, the MVP, and what a pick, JP. I believe 151st overall, Tyler Algier, who was a walk-on at BYU. Wow. A walk-on. Okay? He's now over 1,000-yard year in just 16 games, like super stud. So you got your couple of offensive linemen. You got Desmond Ridder. Now take that away. Your defensive side of the ball, you stink. You've got Grady Jarrett, and that is it. So the Falcons have a ton of money to go shopping, not at Macy's anymore. We're going to go to Neiman Marcus, and we're going to get us some fine defenders.
Nice.
We're going to get somebody to rush the passer. Like it's a different world now. They finally got their credit cards paid off, and we can spend some money. So it's go time.
And nobody knows Nordstrom like you, baby.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Woo-hoo!
So, yeah, I love what I saw at Desmond Ridder. I mean, I'm not a Bucs fan. I'm an objective reporter, obviously. So, yeah, I was shocked at how good he looked and how well he ran that offense. And like, how the hell were you putting Mariota out there all year? That's just
coaching drives me crazy.
Yeah, well, it's because you media people don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're clamoring for them all year long. So that can't be, I'm not going to just give in to the media. So I swear to God, some of these coaches think this way. They're just like, well, if the media's saying that, they're got to be wrong. They're idiots. So I'm not going to do it. It's just the most obvious thing in the world to freaking do. So anyway, so I look at the Falcons and I look at this game and I say, they probably should have beat the Bucs twice. If we're being totally honest. So I do think the Falcons are definitely on the come, and this is an organization to watch for next season, no doubt about it. All right, darling, I appreciate your time as always, and we'll enjoy the game tonight. What are you doing for the game tonight, the national championship?
I think I'm going over my partner in crime's house, Steak Shapiro, who you know well. He's having a few people over.
Oh, the food will be outstanding.
That one. He's going to Buckhead Butcher Shop, so I know you know about that place. So look out. Yes. Steaks are us. Yeah. Oh. Okay, 20 seconds. I want to tell you real quick. We had Chris Felica, the Bear, on this morning.
Right.
He starts the conversation. He goes, first of all, Steak, I want to talk to Sandra. And he went on for 45 seconds about FSU. And that is the team. Like, he loves everything about the Noles, and he said they should be top 5 next year preseason. So how about that?
I love it, babe. And I don't know what the hell they're selling in Tallahassee, but it feels a lot like 1993. And this is Mike Norvell I don't know how he convinces a guy that's got a top 15 grade in the draft in Jared Verse to come back and play college football one more year. I don't know what the hell he's selling.
Dude, I kept hashtagging the Falcons and everything that Jared Verse was doing. I was like, please take a look at them. But it's going to be special. I'm making my way back to Tally this year for sure. It's on.
No, we got to see you there. I was there 3 times this year, and I'll be back for almost every game next year. And hey, you got to join us in Orlando for LSU. Just open the season, baby.
Oh my God, that has to happen. This is awesome. Yes. Well, I love you guys. I miss you, and go Dogs. I think it's gonna be a fun night.
Love you, darling. Appreciate you. Thanks, Sandra Golden at Sports Sandra.
Bye.
Find her on Twitter.
Bye, you guys.
You're the best. You're the best at Sports Sandra with just one S in the middle there. So there you go. She's the best. All right, well, quick break. When we come back, Brady Tinker will join us from Dallas, and you think we're tough on the Cowboys? Wait till you hear Brady. This is going to be good. Brady Tinker coming up next, DSP Media. We're brought to you by the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Back in 3.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Garnet is the birthstone of the month, just for you FSU fans. So get in there and get 15% off any Garnet jewelry. And also great sale going on for after Christmas. So if you got some of those gift cards, go on over to the Gold and Diamond Source and spend that money. They got great sales going on. Of course, they're the greatest folks in the world. Keep it local and keep it at the Gold and Diamond Source. 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondstore.com. All right, let's bring in our good friend Brady Tinker from CS Media, covers the Dallas Cowboys live from Dallas. How about them Cowboys, Brady? They look great yesterday. Woo!
I fell asleep several times during the game on purpose. Kept throwing back a shot every now and then, and all I could say is, what the fuck are we doing? And I've been saying the same thing since the Cowboys beat the Eagles. The Eagles are not going to lose 3 games in a row, whether the quarterback plays or not. They played the Cowboys very well in a game that the Cowboys won. Cowboys played really, really good in that game, except for a turnover or 2. They weren't going to win. Micah Parsons, I found an unbelievable stat that may surprise you, but Micah Parsons, obviously one of the 4 key players on this team. And through 8 games of this season, the defense was dominant. Micah Parsons was going to be Defensive Player of the Year. It was going to be this amazing thing, rookie Defensive Player of the Year to Defensive Player of the Year. And he had a little tweak of an injury in week 8 or 9, kept playing. It spread to be something else, kept playing. His plays seemed to be, to me, going up. They seemed to be doing things with him that they had said the year before they weren't going to do, which was put him down with his hand down or lining up purposefully against a tackle on one side or the other a lot. Dan Quinn had said last year, We're not going to do that as much as maybe you guys want us to because you think he's a great pass rusher. But he weighs 240, and maybe midseason he weighs closer to 230. Banging into 340-pound tackles is going to have him on the field less and wear him out. So we're going to walk him around. We're going to walk him up. We're going to do what they did with LT. Where is he? We got to find him. Where is he? All of a sudden, he's always at defensive end. He's always getting banged by a tackle and then chipped by a running back or a tight end. And he was getting worn out, and you could see it. And so was Tank Lawrence, who had suffered through what he now has said for a few weeks is the bad ankle from last year hurts again. The other ankle hurts, and the knee hurts. He needed time. Micah needed time. You weren't going to win those last two games and have Philadelphia lose those last two games. You were going to be locked in at the 5. You were coming to Tampa Bay to play a game, and a lot of things had gone well. So here's the other stat that may floor you. Now, I believe Nick Bosa is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think we all probably agree with that, right? I went and looked. Nick Bosa has played, now this was 2 weeks ago, so I'm behind, has played roughly 165 less plays than Micah Parsons. And he's missed a game. So you say, how has Nick Bosa got 12 sacks in the last 7 games and Micah's got 4? He's dead on his feet. And I feel like that's the I don't really care about that game yesterday. I couldn't figure out what they were going to do, and neither could they. Right? Yeah. Why is everyone still playing? What are you trying to prove if you're running a vanilla offense that you used for Cooper Rush in week 2? What's the point? And I get it. He didn't want to show anything, right? He didn't. But you know, the pick 6 is he ran the same play twice in a row.
Right.
What veteran quarterback is going to throw the same play twice in a row with a cornerback who's sitting on all their short routes, because that's basically all they throw? I mean, none of it made any sense. And Prescott's still out there with 4 minutes left to go in the game, running and sliding and tumbling. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What is this? It made no sense. I guess they survived it. I guess Deron Bland, who's the 5th-round pick, who's played so well in replacement of a couple of people at cornerback, had a chest thing, but he's going to be okay. So I guess the only thing I took out of that is nobody got hurt. I believe nobody got hurt, which is a miracle. Ron Rivera has actually owned the Cowboys. In their last 8 games against each other, Rivera has won 4 of those games by 19 points or more. Wow. He has owned them. The Cowboys had 10 3-and-outs, 10 punts, 18 third down attempts, averaging about 7 yards per play. I mean, they were never in this, and in reality, they were kind of never trying.
Right.
And even
they
at
were
halftime,
they were in that middle point, which is ridiculous.
And I think they never got out of it, right? I think they came to the game in the middle point. They hoped maybe for 2 series they'd score 2 touchdowns. And then I didn't watch your game, but I presume that's what Tom did. They had some success early. They had a lead. They pulled everybody. They got what they wanted. I think that's what the Cowboys wanted, except they weren't calling any plays that had any creativity. CD's not in motion. The offensive line has really struggled with the run game since Tyron Smith had to go to right tackle. It's just a matter of he hasn't played the right since friggin' high school. So he and Zach are not on the same page yet. It was just never going to work. So it didn't make any sense to me. And it might have got the head coach fired if Dak had gotten hurt. And I think I'm a huge fan of the head coach. I really am. I'm a huge fan. I think 24 wins in these last 2 years is something they've only done a couple of times in the history of this team. They beat some good teams. They've struggled with some bad teams. But, you know, I watch lots of games. Kansas City struggled with 5 terrible teams this year. It doesn't really make any difference. You know, you ideally coming into middle December, late December, you want to be playing well. You want to be rolling. And I want to shut up for a minute and say, how do you guys feel about your team? 3 weeks ago, you were done with your team. Are you feeling a little bit better about this game?
Yeah, mostly because the Cowboys have shown that they suck, or that turd that they put out there yesterday. And I expect the Cowboys to come in here and play much better than they played in this game because they were half in and half out. You can't play NFL football that way. And I think, you know, the Bucs were kind of in the same predicament a little bit, but they, you know, let me just ask you this, head coach. You're going to put Tom Brady out there against a scrappy Falcons team that is playing they were coming into this game to beat Tom Brady. Trust me. They felt like they should have beat him the first time. And they were coming in with their hair on fire, and they played like it. Not that they're a great football
You knew that was coming because Vegas had them 4 or 5 point favorites. Everybody knew this was coming.
Exactly. And so would you put Brady out there with 2 backup tackles?
Absolutely not.
And then the freaking center goes down, and they still put him out there. And he takes two shots from Grady Jarrett, who doesn't get blocked. I'm like, what the F are we doing? And then they pulled everybody. So I don't know what these coaches are thinking. I think and they were considering putting Tristan Wirfs out there, who's had a high ankle sprain 5 weeks ago and has played through it. You had a chance to get him off his feet for the whole damn week, and he was out there at practice, and they were talking about playing him. Thank God they came to their senses and didn't play him on that sticky turf, which is ridiculous. But I don't know what the hell they were trying to accomplish. It was a meaningless game, and they should have rested everybody from the beginning that they possibly could, but they got through it, except now their center, Robert Hainsey, is hurt, and he has a hamstring. Now, he's one of the guys that just was going to have to play anyway because you don't have enough second stringers to put everybody out there. So I'm not going to put that on the head coach, but that's going to be a factor. Is what we're going to be talking about all week. And here's the most bizarre thing. We've been talking about Ryan Jensen coming back from this knee injury he suffered second day of training camp. Right. And he elected not to have surgery. And my information is he's been working with stem cells and has healed his knee, and it's about 85%.
Okay.
And you're thinking to yourself, my God, but he hasn't played a down. I don't even think he's had any contact in practice. He's been out there for 2 weeks now out at practice, but we don't get to see the contact part. So I don't know where he is, but I would think but if he has to play, he might have to play. So, but look, this Bucs team has been, so underwhelming for the entire season. They've shown a little bit of life here late. They played well in the first half against Cincinnati a few weeks ago. They scored 30 on the Carolina Panthers. So they've shown a little bit of life. It's the best scenario they could possibly hope for. They're showing a little life. They're getting a little juice going. And here comes the Cowboys trending down, ready to choke in the first round again. So it's on Monday Night Football, and we got a playoff game. So, who cares about this crappy, ridiculous season? Go out there and beat the Cowboys team that's eminently beatable.
Yep, and this is, everybody Jerry wants another Super Bowl run, et cetera, et cetera. He's probably going to have to win 3 road games to do it. They won a couple of road games in both 92 and 93 on their way to those Super Bowl wins. And that was really the last time they've won meaningful road games in the playoffs. So that's a long time ago. There are things that I have liked. And despite leading the NFL in interceptions, I think Dak did in limited number of games, there was also things about him in his 9 or 10 games that he played that I really did like. They averaged 35.2 points a game. CeeDee Lamb, once Dak got back, started playing like a number 1 wide receiver, which he definitely was not doing the first 5 games. He ends up with 500-yard games in his last 8 games. Seemed to be more responsible and receptive to you are a 1. The old story was his agent called and said he doesn't really want to wear 88. That's a true story. He didn't want it, but he's gotten to where now he does want it. He accepts it. He and Dak have something going. He also knows it's almost time to get paid. So you better step up, and he's doing that. So that's been better. I can't tell you even really what I think is going to happen in this game because I have seen them play very well. The thing that worries me isn't the offense. Certainly the turnovers potentially worry me. It's the defense. This defense was really good for 8 games, and they have been beat up. They've lost 2 starting corners. They've had some issues with tackling, which has gotten a little bit better lately. But I don't know what you're going to get from what I thought was probably easily a top 5 defense because they haven't been that. They were better against Washington, but that was, Howell. I said on my podcast, I'm like, might be Thurston and Lovey's boy, which he won't get, but you will. But I've never heard of this kid. He was okay, but you should be able to put some pressure on him. You should be able to turn him over. And it was just weird. And it almost made me feel like, why are you even playing this game? Why didn't you do what most people asked you to do 2 weeks ago and start resting people? Yeah. Micah Parsons at his very best, and Tank at his very best, and Diggs at his very best, and give Zeke, whose legs certainly are worn out, and Pollard, who had a little thigh injury. Let them all rest and don't get Dak hurt. And even at halftime, he's like, I want to take him out, but I want him to get a little momentum. And I'm like, dude, that ship has sailed. This isn't turning around. I don't care what the score is. This isn't turning around.
I like people. My friend here, Nick, says that they go down the field, they get a touchdown. The Bucs did in the first. It's only the 3rd time all year that they've done it, and that's great. But I don't see how that carries over into next week against Dallas.
No.
I just don't. I mean, to me, it's all about what have you done the entire season? What is your identity? And we sit here and know, you know what our identity is? We play crappy for 57 minutes and we hand it over to Brady. I'm talking about the offense. And he pulls that horseshoe out of his ass and we win games. So that's the recipe. Hopefully the defense can keep you in it until late, and then Brady can go win it. That's it. I mean, that's not much of a great strategy, but it seems to be how the Bucs are doing it. So that's about what I expect.
I really don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I see glimpses of this offense being pretty good. T.Y. actually has been a nice little addition. He's done something for the room. He runs the right routes. I mean, it hasn't been a whole bunch of catches, but when he's been asked to do something, he's made some really big plays. He still looks pretty fast. He's having fun. So that was a nice little addition that was virtually free, which they needed. They needed one more wide receiver. They'll be looking at the draft at wide receiver or looking for a free agent, which is weird because they let Amari Cooper walk. And a lot of the only problems I've seen with this offense for the Cowboys has been I really just don't think the play caller's very good. I think when it's going well and they are running the ball, then they can run play action. They can sort of open up the playbook. Dak has fun with it and they do well. But the truth is, that's true of every team in the league that has an above average to good quarterback. When you're running the ball, well, you can do anything you damn well want, right? Cooper Rush did anything he wanted, to some point because they were running the ball like crazy in that 4-game winning streak. So I don't think the offensive coordinator is very good. I do think Mike McCarthy unexpectedly is under the gun. I think if they lose this game, he's in real trouble because one, Dan Quinn wants a head coaching job. Right. And I think that they really feel like Dan Quinn's had a massively good effect on this entire locker room, especially the defense. Yeah. So, they might have an in-house candidate. And I know there's still a dalliance with Sean too, Sean Payton. So, those things are all here. I hope that doesn't happen. I think McCarthy's really the right guy for the job. I really do. I think he's got a lot of Jason Garrett characteristics, only none of the really terrible ones. And he can handle the Jones family, and he's comfortable and calm. That's the reason I didn't like this game is because I have thought there's been a few in-game things, but I've thought overall Mike McCarthy in his 2 years have handled these last 2 years, his third year, very, very well when it comes to negative things that happened or what have you. They've been 7-1 after they've lost games. So that's certainly something they're going to hang their hat on heading to Tampa. They've had lots of responses, to those kinds of things. So I don't know. I know the Cowboys can play a really good football game. They kicked the crap out of Minnesota 40-3 right in the middle of the season when Minnesota was playing well. That was impressive. They've had some impressive games and stretches. And I think the problem is going to be it's going to be hard for the Cowboys to run the ball against you guys. And if that's the case, can we get tight routes run? Can he throw through small windows? Can he relax and not turn the football over and get on a positive roll? And can the Cowboys defense have an effect on Tom? And
I'm worried about questions. Yeah, that's the thing. And you think the pass rush isn't what it was with because Micah's legs are dead and Tank's legs are okay. Well, that to me is a huge thing for the Buccaneers because if Brady can trust his protection, which he's done recently, then he'll be good. But if he gets hit early and they're getting free runners coming at him, then it's over. And that to me is going to be the biggest crux of the game right there. So we'll see.
I imagine the Cowboys will show some blitz packages early. Curse and some of these safeties that are really talented are pretty good at hiding it and jumping in through holes. So I think they'll look to help those guys a little bit. But Dorrance Armstrong, even, who's had a very good year, has been very quiet last 4 or 5 games as well, and he's a little banged up. I just think the recipe was for rest for this Cowboys team last two games. But because of the situation they're in, I kind of understand it, right? If Philadelphia loses their last 2,
of course, especially with Hurts hurt, you got
absolutely,
you got to do it. Yeah.
So I get it. I think it was almost a bad break. I really do for the Cowboys. I think if the Eagles had clinched, in week 16 or whatever, it would have been way better for the Cowboys. Way better.
I wanted to get you on early here today to talk about the Cowboys laying that turd, but I'd love to get you on Friday as well after we've really kind of marinated through this thing and we'll see where we're at.
Let's do it. Let me double check my schedule. Send me some text. But yes, I do want to do it. Yes,
we'll do as well. Go ahead and promote what you guys got going on this week because a lot of Tampa fans are going to be tuning into whatever you got going on with the Cowboys and anything else.
Well, we're just going to break down, what's going to happen in this game. And to be honest with you, I'm usually pretty opinionated and have a pretty strong idea of what I think is going to happen or what, as a fan, I look at it that way a lot. What I think they can hope for. And this game threw me for a loop. I think they played possum a little bit in this game, but if you were going to play possum, why did you risk all these men's injuries?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was 16-0 Eagles at halftime. That game was probably over, but then all of a sudden the Giants make a little feigned run and everybody's still out there. And I just think the coach got caught in a bad spot. So we'll certainly talk a lot about that. And then we will talk some TCU as well, from 5-7 to the national championship game. Do you have time to do that now? You want to do it?
Give me a quick TCU take on it. Forgot to ask you.
Minus 13's a lot. So from a bettor's perspective, I think if TCU can get through the first 8 minutes of this game without a major turnover, without getting run over, that they'll be in this game. I'm not predicting they'll win, but 13 is what I looked at just a minute ago. I'll take 13. Georgia doesn't turn you over. Have you noticed that, as good as Georgia is, they're on a minus ratio and plus minus in turnovers. It's kind of shocking with the athletes that they have.
But
they
it's
don't
not the
turn
same defense. Not the same defense. They don't have a shutdown corner, and they don't have, as many guys coming off the edge as they've had. So it's a little different.
Yeah, it'll be a field position game for TCU early. They cannot get, stuck down in front of their goal line. The kicker's going to kick the ball through the end zone every single time, so they're going to start at the 25. They're going to need a few first downs. They're going to need to do what they did against Michigan and sort of hear the Rocky music where they're like, we can do this. We're not going to get knocked out in the first round. We can do this. And I think if they can survive the first round, if you will, they have a chance to stay in this game and make it interesting. I like TCU's quarterback better than I like Georgia's quarterback, to be honest with you.
I think they have the edge there.
But the athlete difference may be too much for TCU in this game. But I'll tell you what, TCU was going to lose 7 different times this year to 5 or 6 different ranked teams and never did do it, until they finally lost to Kansas State in overtime in the Big 12 championship. I don't think they're afraid. Whatever Sonny Dykes has sold them, it has taken. And I'm happy for Gary Patterson because these are his kids, 181 and 79, 11 and 6 in bowls. Patterson did a lot for this organization, and really those are 85% of his players. So, I know he's watching closely, even though he's now a Texas guy. But I'm going to take those points. I'm going to take those points and hope you can get through 8 minutes.
I'm with you, brother. All right, we'll reconvene hopefully at the end of the week, my friend. Appreciate
look forward to it.
Brady Tinker at DFW Sports Beat on Twitter. Follow him there. Thanks, Brady. Appreciate it. All right, Todd Bowles is going to do his press conference right now. By the way, breaking news: Cliff Kingsbury has been fired in Arizona. Interesting there.
Are we really shocked? I had the list right here of college to NFL head coaches since 2000 via Adam Schefter right here. Only 3 ended with a winning record. That was Jim Harbaugh, Chip Kelly, which we'd probably tell you wasn't even that success, really. And then Bill O'Brien, which you could probably say up in the air on that one. Yeah. That's it. That's the list of the guys who finished with a winning record after their time.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of upheaval.
So what are we? Lovie Smith fired, Cliff Kingsbury fired. That's already.
Carolina's open.
Carolina, we'll see what happens with Wilkes. He got a win yesterday.
Yeah.
Another one. I think he's done enough to earn that job, to be honest.
So too.
Has that locker room.
Yeah,
so.
He definitely has the locker room. I think
we'll see.
Yeah, I think they're trending in the right direction. Yeah. So we'll see.
And also too on what Brady said about Micah Parsons. I went back and looked at his stats because that jumped out to me when Brady said that. He's had 9 games this year, 9 without a sack.
Yeah.
And since the calendar turned in November, he's only got 5.5, and 4 of those came in 2 games.
Yeah, everything that Brady said is spot on in terms of his build and the way they're using him. These things, it's a grind, especially for these younger guys that aren't, as big.
Yeah.
It's a tough way to get through the season. I know just a couple other quick notes here. Yesterday was just so much stuff happening. You may have seen in the Packers game, Quay Walker was kicked out of the game for pushing one of the training staff who were coming on to, by the way, help a player who just got forearmed in the head. And it was an ugly scene. Wyatt, the other guy, pushes the trainer as well. Just come on, Packers, you're better than that. That was disgusting.
To his credit, he issued a nice apology this morning, and it was a very sincere one. You could tell that bothered him.
Yeah, he was upset at himself. Everybody was kind of killing him because he looked like a spoiled brat going into the tunnel, but I think he was more upset at himself.
And he said that in his apology.
Down. Yeah, so we'll give him a pass on that. There's so much more to get into. We just don't have time today. We got a full show tomorrow to get back into it. Todd Bowles is going to take the podium right now, so we'll get out of here and go listen to that. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Our thanks to Sandra Golden and Brady Tinker for joining us today. Enjoy that national championship game tonight. It's going to be fun, and the Lightning are back at it tomorrow night against Columbus at home. So we'll talk about all that tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Have a great day, everybody.